Welcome back to the LCS Challengers League. I'm Mazel, joined by Magical and Joshi as we get to our final halftime bit. But before that, got to break down a little bit of that very dominant win from CLGC, Joshi.
Yeah, it was, again, almost all about Jenkins, right? Just getting that first 1v2 and coming through and just taking...
You just get a howl. I mean, once you start, everybody joins in, right? That's how dog howling works.
Yeah, you get the howl started. Stop, you're going to start a howl.
That's all the point. That's very cool. Yeah, perfect. Jenkins on Warwick. Yeah. And I think there will be a lot of conversation on how Wildcard can pull it back, but it starts with that early game and not getting your pre-game structure upended in that way. But let's get to our halftime bit, because as our players challenge the LCS, I am going to attempt to challenge Art, because Art is very challenging. All right, Art is extremely challenging. I'm terrible at it, but I have made 4 beautiful masterpieces you guys to pick apart and judge in any way, shape, or form, but they are themed on things that happened in this first game. So I want you guys to walk with me through the gallery that is the Art is challenging bit here. You guys ready?
Ready.
Suppose.
All right, I even made like a little graphic to start it off, right? See, look how
Art is Challengers challenging.
It's Art is Challengers League challenging.
Actually,
that kind of works. GFX Productions, if I've ever seen it.
Excuse me, this is Mazel GFX Productions. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, Joshi. We're completely different companies. So this is the first one, right? No, this is not the first one. This is the first one. And this is before it all went downhill. Is there, what could possibly be the theme here? Do we have aliens over on Wildcard? I mean, look at the detailed nature of this photo, first of all.
Well, okay, I obviously know what those things are, but I'm trying to figure out like what the abduction was.
They're just a bunch of aliens, man. They chose the Vel'Koz. They had the Zach. Those are aliens.
I thought there was going to be more.
No,
I thought this was like an alien abduction.
Yeah,
I mean, when did they get abducted?
Would alien people that play aliens not have been abducted and taken into the fold of the alien people? Like I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're taking Zach this often, I'm just saying, maybe there's something a little alien about you.
Really,
do you like my
nose? Wait, hold on. My nose is running and itchy, and I'm trying to like get rid of it, and they decide to full screen me then.
This is terrible. Of course, not focusing on my beautiful art because it's just too good to look at.
So good.
I just want to throw the angle in there. Got to throw in the Vel'Koz angles. I think it's beautiful. But this represented Wildcard. Yes,
also,
that's it.
You're
it's
missing
literally
one
just
of the
that
tentacles
Wildcard.
of Vel'Koz. Yes.
You know what? It's behind him.
It's
you can't
art,
see it. It's his,
you would be able to see it based off perspective, actually.
Also, the UFO looks like a top hat. I realize now. We're gonna move on. We're gonna go to the second one because I know this one's gonna be one that you like, Mr. Joshi. He got that dog in him. He got that dog. And by the way, I just want to say that this version is way better than the meme one that you made. And you're free to use this anytime you want. But it is a play off of a funny picture that we have, but a representation of just gotta see Jenkins strut his stuff on the Warwick, man.
I will.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to be seeing that again, especially with the Zach. It was definitely very telling that CLG Challengers let the Zach through because no other team has been doing it.
Yeah, honestly, everyone else has been banning that away. They've been fearing that or the Garen, and then Jenkins like, I don't care about either. I'm just going to play Warwick, so have fun with that.
So the next one is when things started to maybe take a little bit of a downturn for Wildcard. Let me see if you get what my drift was. As it just looked like there was a tornado.
I was about to say, is it
and Wildcard were getting thrown all over the place. It was one fight in the mid game when things really started to go off the rails, where literally the fight expanded to take over like the entire part of the circular part of the center of the map. And you just had Wildcard members like literally everywhere, and then CLG were just chasing them down, and the red side, it was hilarious.
What does that mean? The entire circular part of the center of the map?
Like where the bushes are going in the river, around the...
Isn't that just the mid lane?
Are you saying that Wildcard are redheads?
No, but it was their team colors, so that's what I threw in there. I mean, they were just going to be circles. Would you rather just be amalgamous circles?
I don't know. I
could have been playing cards. Actually.
I tried to make I wanted to color in the tornado to the CLG colors, but it just did not look good.
It should have been playing cards. It should have been
playing
playing
cards. The
cards.
left has been dropped at some point.
Yeah. Well, yes.
They are in a tornado.
I was going to say, a couple of them are still stuck in there, some of them getting thrown off. But now we go to the real big photo, okay? Because we came into this one, we were hitting hard on the bot lane. We're like, oh my God, the bot lane going to pop off, right? This one, maybe less artistic skill. It's not as good. Don't worry about it. But it's pretty representative of what happened.
I do like that. I do like that.
Crazy were in that game.
Yeah, I mean, they were in that game, and we put a lot of focus on them. They did not do as much as the solo lanes did. You called it out perfectly well in that game, Joshi.
Yeah, there's definitely a point at which I felt like Breezy was just shooting off arrows because he was bored. Right? Like, they didn't have to do anything on the bottom half of the map. And there's definitely a certain point at which, like, one of my old coworkers put it best. It's been about 5 minutes since I have died. I think I need to go try and make something happen. And so that's kind of what it felt like, because the number of arrows that Breezy was just shooting off was absolutely wild. Some of them was like, yes, you're going to try and make a pick off this. But other times it was like, haha, screw you, Wildcard.
Love the Radiant Virtue pick over Jenkins, by the way. I had to throw that one in there.
It really didn't matter. He was that far ahead. He could have probably just not bought items and just try to see if he can get the 10k challenge, and it would have still been the same.
No comment.
I'm gonna go back to the dog in him, because just for you, Joshi, we're just gonna sit here. I'm gonna be a talking
wrong
dog.
On that? All he needed was Blade of the Ruined King, and he was fine.
Do I start drawing a Blade of the Ruined King in his hand now?
Yeah.
We still need to come up with the picture so that Alex can see it at some point. I'll see if I can get it, or Lennon, you should see if you can get it ready for after the game.
Okay. I'll see if he plays it. Maybe he'll play it again. Maybe we'll get the opportunity. But I'll find it for Alex. Anyways,
Those is our teammates, Angie.
I love to see dogs on the Rift. I love it.
That is our. Appreciate you, Angie. That is our halftime bit. Art is challenging, though. A little bit of a spotlight of what happened in game number 1. But I think the biggest focus now should be on what we want to see from Wildcard coming into game 2 and some of that stability in the early game, Joshi.
Yeah. And also, that graphic. Jay, come on. They're 7-4 now.
Yeah, it's a tie ball game now between the two.
It is.
This is definitely, like, it asks questions about what happened yesterday with Wildcard and Cloud9. The way that CLG played this one was an absolute statement, but I don't expect we're going to have the same kind of more standard game. Excuse me, I'm expecting to shift more to the standard gameplay in Game 2 than we saw in Game 1, and that'll be one of the big tests, right? If Wildcard can beat CLG in a more standard game where they don't just lose the game and would reset if it was a scrim, that's going to be one of the big opportunities for Wildcard to again prove that they belong to be in this upper echelon and didn't just have an easy schedule.
Any thoughts about anything you just pointed out for Wildcard, Magical, or are you more focused on what's happening in the CLGC camp?
I will.
He's thinking.
Hard-hitting information from reporter Magical, who in the field says "Awu." I do wonder though, because obviously throwing for a loop, the kind of picks that you were pointing out in the cast for Jenkins, the fact that he hasn't been going these traditional top laners, does beg the question if, as you were saying, does Moose Hater try to go for something a little bit more meta to contest against this guy? And especially with what we've seen from Moose Hater. I mean, we've had the crazy Garen montage. We've had the crazy backdoors multiple times. Like, this top lane matchup, now that we've seen what happened in game number 1, it feels like Moose Hater wants to punch back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Moose Hater, I'd be so sad about that game because you just sit there and you're just like, well, I don't know what to do. I got blasted at level 1 and now I
feel worse for Keel, man.
I feel bad for Keel, but at least Keel could like try and make things happen, whereas Moose Hater's like, well, I can't go
Keel couldn't make things happen until like 15 minutes into the game.
I mean, neither could Moose Hater. His life sucked.
That is true.
The game was over.
All right, well, we're going to get ready for our final game of the day. We've gone through the pictures. We've gone through the setups. Let's see what happens on the Rift. Guys, take it away.
Thank you. Let us dive into this game, see if we get a Warwick again for Jenkins, or, as we expect, it gets banned in the first rotations because he was damn good on that champion, getting that level 1v2 kill onto Keel, putting him so far behind. And for Wildcard, that's one of those games where you go, all right, was that really a game, or was that a fever dream?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that can necessarily be learned from that, other than, like, I guess don't fight. just don't fight him at level 1. But now Wildcard, as they kind of come back into this one, they actually have like a little bit of a trick that they can do. They don't have to ban Warwick until the 3rd ban, and then it forces CLG to kind of ban out in different ways. Like, you might have to ban the Zac anyway, because you don't know that Wildcard won't ban Warwick before you actually get into it. And so suddenly we have interesting mind games going on in the draft that we just haven't seen this entire season in any region.
No, and I think that's why I really like watching Wildcard, because Wildcard are a team that will force you to have to play this unique style. You have to play around what they are providing and what they are bringing to the Rift.
Ooh.
And in this one, CLG Challengers are not taking that challenge. They are just banning away some of the things that they've seen be strong previously by the bot lane of Lens and Duo King, as well as Keel on Udyr, something that he made his name for back when he was in the Academy circuit beforehand, well, with a lot of marksmen actually being the options for Wildcard.
Yeah, and it leaves an interesting spot where I'm expecting Varus to be the most likely first pick, considering how strong it has been thus far. But also, it asks whether or not Wildcard will be playing the Zac at all this game, right? Do you want to play it into the Warwick? Are you going to pick the Warwick yourself? Do either Keel or Moosehater play it? I don't expect so, but I would not be surprised if they just pick Zac and Warwick here if they could.
I'm expecting to see that maybe those wait till the later parts of the draft. Just with what happened last time, I'm expecting maybe they go, let's hold off from that. There's the Poppy that can be played by Kevy that we don't want to deal with if we grab an early Zac. We want to get the bot lane, but they will actually get the jungle early with Keel onto Kindred.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been seeing a couple of different varieties of Kindred players come through, right? Kenvi played it on the LCS stage recently. Pioshik's been drawing all kinds of bans. Shaden has had some great opportunities to kind of show off on his character, and now we get to see Lens's Draven in order to try and take advantage of the fact that you get to wake up with the Super Infinity Edge at your second item.
Right. They are Wildcard essentially are saying, you know what happened last game is we lost early and we were never able to claw back. They are doubling down on aggressive early game tendencies, looking to get Lens and Duo King actually into a position, unlike last game where the bot lanes were the ones on the island that were kind of just there, like you said, a little bit bored out of their minds.
Yeah. I also really love this pick coming up from Copy, right? The Rise was something that, even with the traditional counterpick of the Vel'Koz, Copy took control of due to the fact that Keel wasn't able to play. Now, it is worth noting that this is a classic Kevy counter.
It's being covered, pick. So let's see if it gets picked first.
Yeah,
that's the big thing.
We've seen so many different unique junglers coming out from both Kevy and Keel throughout their career thus far, and instead Kevy's saying, I don't really want to interact with you one-on-one, but I am going to go dive your lanes.
Well, and this is also still a typical Kevy pick. Kevy is very well renowned for his AP junglers. The Evelyn being the #1, with Karthus kind of up there as well. We know Keel likes to play that as well, but at least fits that wheelhouse. And then here we go. It isn't going to be Zac. Moosehater is blinding his Garen.
Yeah, and we will see. I mean, you get 2 bans to try and protect it to make Jenkins a little bit uncomfortable, but Jenkins also has like this crazy champion pool to draw from, right? The very first couple of games we saw them play Warwick and Kled, and while there are more traditional things like the Kennen or the Aatrox are still on the table, it's going to be a situation where Moosehater can just ban out any champions that he just really doesn't want to play against.
Starting off with Camille, not wanting to have Jenkins play that, but I am still looking to see at the bevy of different champions that Jenkins likes to play and what is actually taken away. It's going to be more of the meta style that Wildcard really want to hit. So Jenkins, I don't know how the Warwick would do into Garen. I feel like that's more of a Garen favored matchup personally, but Jenkins, other champions that he's very proficient with playing, the Kled would be the one that I kind of would look at playing against Garen early.
I almost wonder if Jenkins just kind of goes back to one of the more standard top laners that we've been seeing, right? Like, Jenkins does have a Gangplank. Jenkins can just
really good Gangplank.
Stay back. But it's also, like, it's not the easiest thing in the world to play Gangplank into Garen. It is still pretty tough there just because you constantly get pushed back. We'll speculate a little bit more on how the matchup will actually go, because I'm still curious what it is that Duo King wants to be playing. This is a classic Sligo champion, but Duo King has also been known to play it.
He has, and while I want to think that it could be flex, to me, with how the draft has been so far, especially with Keel on Kindred, you want that added layer of safety to peel for Kindred when she gets caught out or she's in the back line trying to find these flanks, to have the Galio come save the day with diving onto someone who's immobile, such as the Rise, such as Varus, and with Jenkins going for more of that meta pick that you were kind of calling out as Cassante. I'm even liking the Galio more to pair up with Garen.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting position, right? Because the Cassante is something that Moose Hater has been loving the opportunity to play the Garen into, right? It is one of the go-to counter picks that Moose Hater has actually been taking into this matchup. And so we'll get to see whether or not Jenkins can continue to create pressure on this, because they have a lot of point-and-click crowd control, a lot of easy stuns to kind of play around. And on the other side of the map, I mean, there is a rough and tumble, big brawl ready to come out from both sides, as we have a lot of melee champions just going to be smacking each other over and over. And in these long, drawn-out just brawls, you really have to look at Draven as one of the best characters, because nobody's going to be trying to hit him.
No, and you talk about easy to land CC for the side of CLG Challengers. Well, Abram now makes it so that Kindred, Draven, even Garen are going to have a field day of actually having their own lockdown potential, so long as you can get a concussive blows or an auto attack down by Duo King.
Yeah, so I'm liking Wildcard's chances a lot better in this one. They have their top side in a much more comfortable position. The only place where I'm a little bit unsure of whether or not Wildcard will be able to survive is in the mid lane, because without jungle pressure, Rise will be able to freely scale into this game, and so we're really asking Keel to see if they can help out the middle of the game.
Yeah, and so as we get ready for our game, getting into our last one of the day here on the Challengers League stream between CLG Challengers and Wildcard. I gotta agree, I'm looking at that mid lane. I'm looking at Copy versus Soligo as being a point attack if you're Kevy. But then again, it's Moose Hater on Garen, so you got the Copy posse, you all know what to do.
There you go. Too bad you can't copy and paste off the screen, but I'm sure it's already in chat already. Yeah. So, no real shenaniganeries level 1 for you, Magical, but we are going to be 5-pointing a little bit. We'll see if there's any vision that is created on either side, because tracking both these junglers will be ridiculously important due to how effectively they can both blow up people in the side lanes.
As you said, nobody going for anything. I think this favors Wildcard, because last time something like that happened, they were the ones put completely on the back foot. In fact, I'm pretty sure they tripped over their feet as they fell down onto their butts and couldn't get back up for a long time.
Yeah. But everybody's going to be backing away, getting a little bit of vision down. Neither Keel nor Kevy will be able to find an early advantage. One of the things that we will have to pay attention to is, where do Meech and Breezy start? Are they going to actually be going for a leash, or are they going to go directly to lane in order to make sure that they can take a little bit more control? Brush control doesn't matter quite as much in melee versus melee matchups unless you're using to block vision, but Duo King just needs to tag you once. He doesn't need to keep hitting you.
Exactly, and that is one of the powers. This is interesting, kind of cheeky if you think about it from lens to Duo King. This is something I like to do in my own solo queue games, where I'll go to the camp that I know my jungler's not starting on. I'll leash it so that the opponent will think my jungler's on that side of the map. It's just the mind games. It's a little bit of something that people I don't think try to utilize too much.
Yeah. I mean, you also got to use like a spell on it, so it looks like you actually leashed.
Exactly, and Lens did.
And yeah, already got the axes spinning, but we know that Keel's on the other side of the map, and Kevy is also on vision. So Wildcard Keel will have a lot more freedom to try and choose where they actually go in the next couple of minutes, because they have not yet been spotted.
I'm expecting to see something maybe level 3, level 4 from Keel. Look for the early game pressure themselves, as opposed to letting CLG gain range right away and charge all the way to their base and get every single one of their lanes fed, especially when you have to deal with something like an Elise. If you're able to be the first ones making a play, that means this Elise is not doing the job that she was drafted for.
Sure, and that is one of the interesting things, though, is if Kevy gets a counter gank, it is also devastating, because Elise really thrives in situations where your opponents have used up all of their cooldowns already. So, we will see if Keel does get spotted out. It looks like they will be on opposite sides of the map, and so it might end up being a trade. Moose Hater tries to throw down a ward to make sure they can't be dope.
I like that from Moosehater. Was able to get the cannon, back off, put the ward, safe in the top lane. Only way we would really see Kevy, since we know that Wildcard know he's not on the bottom quadrant of the map. They know that he is trying to path up top lane, giving that added layer of safety for Moosehater just for the time being until he gets a couple more spells. Ooh. A nice dredge line connects, but this is the problem. You have to still deal with a Braum Draven, where it looked like they could get a lot of that damage back on Lens, but you really can't. All he has to do is stand behind Braum, and it's going to be okay.
It's going to be all right. Keel is coming down, is that level 4 like you were calling out, but Meech and Breezy playing back a little bit, trying to make sure that they aren't under engage range at all, and so they should be all right as Keel does complete the back. But the top side of the map, you know, still going relatively even, as Jenkins does have a small advantage, but Garen really comes into their own around level 3, 4, 5. So now we can start looking at Moosehater to start trading a bit more aggressively, and as they get more levels, the natural sustain will build up, and so Jenkins will need to be even more aggressive if he wants to maintain a health advantage.
We'll get Kevy in the bot lane, putting down the control ward, having sidestepped that dredge line. Even with spotting out Kevy, that connects. That probably could have been a lot more devastating. A little bit of skirmishing across the map, and I know you kind of want to talk about that a little bit, but I'm not expecting it to mount to too much. There's Ghost for Soligo if he needs to get out of there. Not very much damage, mana for Copy either. It's really about heal.
Stop back.
This is kind of what I was looking for. It's level 4. It is spotted out, though. Both teams doing a great job of maintaining control over the opponent, so there are no angles that either side can really look for.
Yeah, I mean, both junglers just happen to be on opposite sides the entire time, not able to interact with each other at all, and so they're both getting spotted out at similar times, so there's very little play for both of the junglers thus far, and that is, again, going to be an advantage to Wildcard. But I also want to hark back to something that we heard in the interview with Lens, that he was like, we are expecting to be a top 3 team. And so far, they are absolutely ranked among the top as a provisional team. And so this is going to be one of the teams that I think they really need to at least pick up this game if they want to try and make those kind of statements, because this is a team that we're expecting to be one of the top 3. And the only reason why they're not already there is because they've had a very tough schedule already in the beginning of the season.
So I'm glad you kind of talk about this provisional team, because we've highlighted before in this day, FlyFam, CLG Faith, these provisional teams, what their identities really are. It's about growth. It's about the eventual destination further down the line. But that's also because they're affiliated teams. They're not the main team, like the main challenger team. While Wildcard are a team that wants to avoid relegation at all costs. So with a huge knockup, could be big. Copy was able to sidestep, but he had to flash over the wall in order to survive. Flash from Breezy as well. The flash in with the taunt, so there's no escape for Copy with Breezy. The next one that should fall with one more auto attack. They can give the kill to Draven so he can cash out, but they don't want to wait. They want to make sure that they get the kills and the dragon.
That was an incredibly greedy play coming up from CLG. They had almost no mana whatsoever to play with. Kevy going to try and go for a steal.
Okay, Kevy. He was able to sidestep. He gets the kill, but it was not the steal away. The flash in Cocoon to make sure they at least get kill. So it's a 2-for-2 trade with a dragon for Wildcard.
I love that coming out from Kevy and Meech, recognizing that not everybody is there. They can actually go for a little bit of a fight, and they are able to pick up a couple of kills. As you said, not the dragon, but look at this upcoming play, right? They are super split, and Breezy is so low on mana, can't really contribute much to this fight outside of the auto attack. And because Kevy doesn't turn around with them at the same time, they're effectively fighting a 3v4. And once it actually splits up, there's no way for them to actually get anything else out of this fight. It's all about what they can pick up on the backside, and that's why I love what Kevy and Meech did.
That is nice. It's making sure it's not even just a constellation prize at that point. Yeah. You're making it nearly dead even. The only thing you lost out on was the dragon, but it's only the first dragon of the game. It's not going to be too pivotal unless, of course, we see Wildcard completely control the jungle from here on out.
Yeah. So we will get to see how Wildcard does respond. Remember, they are a composition that can fight at most stages of the game rather effectively, and both the Kindred and the Draven will really enjoy hitting a lot of these relatively short-range champions that can't necessarily out-DPS them for at least most of the game. But as we see this Rift Herald actually spawning, note that it is CLG who is getting ready to do this first, and Kevy has been one of the best at securing neutral objectives for his team.
Also helps out that Keel was not able to get a single stack during that whole fight. The Scuttle Crab, they didn't take. Said they wanted to get the Dragon, which meant Kevy was able to deny at least that first stack from being picked up. And since Kevy also didn't die, there's no stack for Keel. That's why Keel taking the long path around, waiting it out, trying to get some teammates to help out before looking for maybe a play onto Kevy, or I wouldn't be surprised if we see the mark switch off of Kevy and onto someone a little bit more susceptible like Meech.
Yeah. CLG making sure that the Rift Herald actually despawns, as both AD carries are still continuing to jockey down the bottom side. As you called out, no kills going over to Lens. Makes it a lot harder for him to just kind of bully around the side of the map. But Kevy giving up some position in order to look for a gank.
Shader pulled back in, all out. Cocoon did not land. It was a good use of Ghost to get out of dodge by Moose Hater, which is given plenty of time for the rest of Wildcard to group up around this Rift Herald. Kevy, you try to pull off a miracle again, but with more members of Wildcard, there is not that realistic chance this time.
Yeah, I mean, Jenkins played that so well, but Kevy just slow on the gun, not able to make the fight happen. Does mean that Wildcard get this Rift Herald for free. In the top side of the map, they bring people up and they're a little bit more decisive, and that's something that we always love to praise, especially about professional teams, is their willingness to make things happen. And Saligo, already with the level 6, going to start looking around for opportunities to fight everyone they can by roaming out of the lane, pushing things forward, and then looking to play with Keel.
Finally, a first mark picked up by Keel there into the Scuttle Crab, so on the board with that. And while we're on the topic, let's talk a little bit about Keel and his history, because he has been a player who has played back in the Academy. In fact, I believe it was on a CLG Academy back in the day.
It was?
As well. So there is a lot that, there's a lot of revenge that he would like to get against a team that had dropped them in the past, where people were kind of like, he's not as good as we expected. And then last year, think about last year and how he performed at the Proving Grounds, really proving a lot of people wrong. Here on Wildcard, I feel like he's been on a very similar trajectory to try to prove people that he is still a top jungler prospect that you have to look at. Even if Moose Hater has been getting a lot of the attention, Keel is a player that I think always needs to be a part of the conversation, not only for his unique champion pools, but for his creative pathing as well.
Well, I mean, I think that's why teams in the past have kind of scorned him a little bit, right? Because he is kind of pigeonholing teams into a certain playstyle, but Wildcard has been leaning into it, right? It feels in some ways as though this team was built around this very unique top side in Moose Hater and Keel. It's allowed Keel to really kind of shine. We'll see how they do, especially against some of the really tough junglers. The fact that they were able to beat up Tomio with the good padding like you were talking about yesterday was a big sign of growth for this guy, but he still has a lot of other challenger junglers now that they are going to be going up against, and working with Saligo is a great way for them to get a little bit more control around this bottom side river.
Because going to Saligo, another player we've seen around the Academy atmosphere, now the semi-pro atmosphere for a long time, where he was the player a lot of people had talked about, like a big upcoming player that everyone would have to look out for. And with that taunt, nice damage onto Kevy. Kevy should have a little bit of assistance from Copy, and they're just going to chase away Keel and Saligo, getting their root with the Rune Prison onto Keel.
Everyone's
they
coming.
have to try to kite back the best they can. Lantern's Fight is there, trying to get away. That's going to be the Realm Warp on the other side of the wall. They will actually be able to get away. All the while, bot lane, it was a 2v2 skirmish going for Meech with a double kill. And this fight's still not over. Oh, no, it is.
Okay,
it is. Okay.
now.
It is over. But it's a big play for CLG Challenge board.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the Keel's ultimate.
He had to. He would have died. He would have died.
Yeah, he would have died. Great stuff coming out from Meech, and this is going to be a big win coming out from CLG. They get the dragon and don't give over anything this time. Even Moose Hater, following Jenkins down the river in order to try and participate in this fight, wasn't able to get any plates up towards the top side. And you can immediately see Wildcard now sitting their duo lane up top. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Moose Hater? Okay, Moose Hater's still fine. He's going to get out of there. It looked a little dicey for a second, but it's...
He tanky, boy.
Yeah, he's tanky, even if he doesn't seem it at the moment. Let's take a look at this replay of the bot lane, since we didn't really get to see what had happened.
Yeah. Now, we know Duo King is the first one to fall, but it takes them a while to kind of reconvene their battle lines, and the ultimate does not block anything, or it does not block the ultimate coming out from Breezy, and so it's just beating up the support first and then coming back in. I like the attempt from Lens in order to try and find something, but they get too separated because they're trying to fight the rest of the map.
Yeah, the rest of the map was kind of going haywire for Wildcard as well. You didn't have the play that could work out bot lane. You're already starting to lose that. Plus, Heal, Sligo getting chased away.
What is this lane assignment? Wait, why didn't Copy teleport up?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I mean, we saw the Rift Herald get crashed. It looked like they were trying to find a play, but not finding a play there and committing everything towards the top half. You lose a play in the mid lane. You lose at least one play in the bottom lane, maybe two.
And probably two.
That's you know, a kill and a half already going over towards Wildcard.
It's not 3, is it? Okay, no, it's not. Jenkins is here.
Yeah, Jenkins is here. But I mean, that's a pretty big opportunity that CLG were trying to find that they were not able to do anything with. And so, CLG, we will see if they can kind of turn that around. Remember, while they have fantastic scaling in the Rise, who will be able to out DPS basically everybody, if Garen gets on top, he's silenced, and that's all of Copy's damage gone for a couple of seconds.
Plus, Kindred, no slash at scaling. The biggest problem that Heal has with scaling at this moment is still sitting on, I believe, only 1 stack, which is going to delay any possibility. Yep, still only 1 stack. Hasn't gotten a kill on Kevy yet. I'm surprised hasn't tried to switch targets.
Well, I mean, there hasn't been that much fighting, and by the time the team fights actually erupt, it's kind of like, well, whoever you had it on before, right? Don't have the freest opportunity to choose your targets as the Kindred, especially in the way that these fights have been erupting. You kind of just have to hit whoever's in front. But CLG seem to be in a situation where they're going to try and really create advantages in this game through their side lanes. We have praised Copy and Jenkins' ability to be side laners in the past, and this is going to be another opportunity for them to create a lot of space for the rest of CLG. And it's one of the big reasons why we were excited for Jenkins to join, because Triple was a pretty okay side laner later on in the game, but Copy is one of the best.
Copy is one of these players, when we look at his story, starting on 100 Thieves next, having been more of a supportive player, trying to build up players like Kevy, like Tenacity, even Yawn. Then into when he joined Cloud9, gotta transform. Gotta play more of those side lanes, more of the bullies, more of the carries for the team. We've seen that translate consistently over the years and into this year with the new team, pretty much in a new environment for himself.
Yeah. And it's been a breath of fresh air, right? We were very sad that he did not get an opportunity to play LCS or even continue to play for Cloud9.
Still deserves it.
Yeah, still looking for their opportunity to come forward as one of the kind of our main characters that we had in spring and summer. But look at this, Keel looking for an opportunity to defend this turret.
Getting low, and there's Kevy spotted out. They realized Kevy there, not really a position they want to be. Plus, Copy was rotating around. You had seen him on that ward. He got round warp to make this a really difficult defense. That's why they decided to give up the tower for free, not fight it over it. Huh? Yeah. What? Why is he there?
He's hitting Krugs. The crusty Kruggos.
Krusty Krab pizza? Is the pizza for you and me?
Yeah. Well, no, that's what Dude Lambo said. Krusty Kruggos.
Krusty Kruggo pizza is the pizza for me and you. You and me.
Yes.
Okay.
There it is. But, Alex, for you and me, we have the dragon that we have to start paying attention to again here in a minute. And Wildcard, they have mythics on almost everybody. And I imagine that Lens will go ahead and back away for his here in just a sec. And they do complete the Kraken Slayer. And that is true for CLG as well. I feel like this is one of the fights that are going to be a little bit tough for CLG to actually take, just because a lot of their characters rely so much on having their second item, right? Varus is so much better with the Gwynsu's than they are with just the Immortal Shield bow. Rise is so much better when you get the Seraphs completed as opposed to just the Rod of Ages, and they can be very okay taking fights on the next dragon instead of potentially this one. And so I'm kind of expecting them to play a little bit more towards their side lanes, and Jenkins will have to be very careful because Wildcard are going to be playing for this upcoming objective.
At the moment, CLG Challengers still have members gathered around the bottom quadrant. 4 members essentially grouped up because you can see that Jenkins is on his way. But CLG Challengers looking to force away Wildcard, knowing what the play is, and with Copy being sent down, they're not just going to give this up without a fight. They're going to look to pin back Wildcard, still having the eye in the inventory of Kevy that they can pop down mid lane if they want to force the issue. But instead, all 5 members are still looking to fight around that Kentech dragon.
Yeah, I mean, all of CLG is here. I love the fact that Copy is creating a screen off on the side so that they can control more of their battle lines.
Okay, Moose Hater's fine. Taking just a little bit of damage from Copy. Should be able to shrug a lot of that off. Just waiting to reset. Here comes Saligo. That's the Rift Herald pop. That's what I was looking for from CLG to make sure if they're going to fight around this dragon, they can secure control.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I call a distraction Carnifex, right? You can't ignore it, but you have to spend a lot of time actually dealing with it. The one thing that might come back to hurt CLG is the fact that Jenkins is pretty far, but they do get the wave to crash and force Ligo to attend to it again. And so CLG now going to be starting it up.
They get it.
Yeah, Wildcard giving them a lot of respect, giving them a lot of space.
Don't want to tempt it at this point. The game is definitely not over, even if Beach is 3-0. They have plenty of avenues back into this game, and they don't want to risk it over a dragon that has very little recourse behind actually fighting it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised because the fights later on are not the easiest thing in the world, right? You are really relying on Moosehater to kind of build an advantage to really become a huge problem. And while Lens will be able to do a lot of damage, you have to outpace where Copy is. If Copy is able to turn around and DPS you back effectively, then Lens's job becomes very, very difficult because he cannot do the same kind of burst that Arise will be able to.
All right, Keel's on 2 stacks now.
Let's go. Double what we were at last time.
I'm pretty sure that that's like a stack every 10 minutes at the moment for Keel. Not looking the best. You need to get that 4 stacks on Kindred to feel impactful, to feel like an actual champion.
But we'll see how long it actually takes them to get there. It still feels like CLG is kind of waiting for something, right? They're testing the waters as they move around. This is something
so much waiting or just confidence with their scaling?
I think they're looking for mistakes on Wildcard side, right? It's not, it's not a free scaling coming out from CLG. It is good scaling, but it's not free, right? You have to remember that you're going up against this Kindred who will be scaling incredibly well, and Draven, if they find a good position where they're able to free hit, and again, specifically not fighting Rise, Lens will be able to do a ton of damage and even potentially win some of the duels against Jenkins.
Bit of trade of damage between the junglers. Tier 1 falls. More gold into the pockets and inventories of CLGC. But despite it being 20 minutes into the game, it's not really like either team have a massive lead. CLG look like they do, purely because they've gotten a lot of control on the map. But Wildcard have been making sure they're at least staying relatively competitive against their opponents. Even looking, this is the matchup we kind of expected. It's the Moosehater classic counter to Cassante, but he's still having a difficult time against Jenkins and actually dominating this lane.
Yeah, I mean, Jenkins has been one of our better side laners that we've had in the Academy/Challengers ecosystem for quite a while, and making sure that Moosehater never gets access to the regeneration built into the kit as long as the minions are around has been allowing Jenkins to actually fight for a lot of the minions and actually be able to find small advantages there. But one thing that has been really good by Moosehater is his ability to fight just the neutral minions and create opportunities there.
All right, now though, Moosehater took a bad trade against Jenkins. Jenkins realizing that you can fight him pretty well. Make sure you can poke him out as mid lane. See that potential pick on to Duo King, using Glacial Fissure, getting a lot of damage, but he had to flash over, and they've got the connect onto Keel with the depth charge as well. Lance Respite, when's that come out? Do you use it to save your own life as Jenkins is on top?
He's taken out.
The other side.
He's not.
He's looking for the fight. They knock him back. They've got the Keel, and Keel with a Whirling Death, not taking anybody down, waiting it out. Jenkins, he's all out, but he's got only half his health, and they found the snipe from Meech onto Duo King. Moosehater still has not found that angle to get into the back line. Since all 5 members of CLGC are still up, they turn towards the Baron.
Dude, that felt like the short and wondrous life of Wildcard Keel, man. He's in the ultimate, he's out of the ultimate, he's back in, he's back out, ends up dying. But at the end of it, CLG, they just stand tall, they don't give Lens an angle to actually do anything, and they constantly hit. They pick up the Baron at 22 minutes, and CLG, again, taking total control, showcasing that Wildcard is still a team that you have to take seriously, but that they are CLG. They're ready to do this entire thing.
Look at Meech, too. Look at Meech.
Yeah. Oh, Meech is free hitting this entire time.
Yeah.
But I was so fascinated by this, right? Jenkins not quite getting the angle to get Keel out. He has to knock him out again. And that creates so much space because Moosehater never is able to get into this fight. He never gets a spin, he never gets the armor shred, and so Lens never able to do enough damage to actually pick up any of these members.
It's difficult. So like we were talking, I bring it back to point again. Keel's still only on 2 stacks as Kindred. It's one of those points in the game where it feels like because you haven't gotten those stacks, that your scaling option with Kindred is completely down the drain. Instead, you have to see how side lanes are really going to work.
Yeah.
It has to be on the back of Moose Hater, maybe even a little bit on Celigo, then joining in the fights later on, because look at the build path Celigo's gone for. That is far more of a damage carry build out of Galio.
Yeah, I mean, it is a situation where he recognizes his team's entire magic damage budget. He needs to be doing all of it, and he needs to force people to itemize in such a way that they can't just armor stack this game. And if he went the more tanky route, they would just do that. But Keel really needs to support Celigo in the side lane, because even with this build, you're not going to be winning side lane interactions as the Galio up against the Ryze. You're not going to be winning it up against the Cassante. And so, as more turrets start to fall down, CLG, they're able to pick up both opportunities in the mid lane and the bottom lane, and also Kevi, who we praised for their neutral objective control, picking up another dragon.
It's going to be the third one, putting him within soul point of the Kentech Soul. Looking like it is the doomsday for Wildcard after an amazing upset yesterday, the 2-0 against Cloud9 Challengers. CLG Challengers have seemed like they are putting on a showcase of how to deal with Wildcard, how to deal with these chaotic, crazy styles they bring to the Rift by being controlled, calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the spots that we kind of look at between Copy and Jimenez, who we are saying are some of our top mid laners in the entire league, right? Copy is much more of a pressure player, whereas Jimenez is just going to try and kill you. And now they're going to try and kill Moose Hater.
Moose Hater doesn't have a way out. He doesn't have Ghost. He's got Flash, but he goes into the brush. And all that CC layered on top of him. And with his squishy build path, it's too easy for Meech.
They still have a little bit of their Baron buff. They won't have it by the time they actually get there, but picking off the nail that stands up is creating a ton of problems for Wildcard. They were hoping to allow Celigo to keep pushing down in the bottom lane, maybe pick up an objective bounty, but this top lane turret is not long for this world.
Not at all. And even if it's only going to be one cannon minion, it's enough to make sure they can still push back the wave, look to see if they can keep it corralled back towards the base of Wildcard so the rest of the team can get their ports off.
Everybody's going to be backing away. CLG, I'm kind of thinking about what the win conditions still are for Wildcard. And it was before, like, creating good fights for Lens or Keel, like, popping off with some of the ganks. But, you know, the ganks are well gone. And Lens, you know, on this Draven, still hasn't gotten that first cash in. I wonder if we can see how many stacks Lens is sitting on at this point, because if they ever get a kill at this point, they will instantly 337. I believe it's 2.5 gold for every stack. That's 1,000 gold that Lens will get if
That's
they
shutdown.
ever.
That's a full shutdown you're getting.
Yeah, full shutdown plus whatever the kill is normally worth. If you kill Meech, that's nearly 2,000 gold instantly injected into Lens's pocket. But if he dies, like, that is one of your only comeback mechanics that is gone.
Oh, Kevi, this could be a big pick. They've got concussive blows. They've stacked it, and they've got the stack for... Oh, no, Keel switched! Ah! Oh, no!
That's so sad. That is such a small tragedy here coming in for Wildcard, but now Celigo in dire straits.
He was able to Justice Punch away, back towards the brush, still had Flash. Fairly tanky, despite going for a squishier build path, you still are Galio. You build up AP, you get armor, and you get magic resist, and you get health. So it's not too bad. And here comes the TP in Jenkins to deny Moose Hater take gold for the team. And you know what? Oh, it was looking doom and gloom for a second. It's still not looking great for Wildcard. But the play, getting the kill on Kevi, at least get some gold back. Keel getting the kill credit on that as well. Definitely going to help him out. Lens has finished the Bloodthirster as well. A little bit better at fighting some of these long exchange trades. But Moose Hater depends on how he fares here against Jenkins. Jenkins has gotten very tanky at this point with that Sunfire already built. Ghost for Ghost pop.
Yeah.
With the TP already used by Jenkins, he can't really match up against Moose Hater for a while unless, of course, he wants to let his team set up just a pure 4v4.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty happy to go for a 4v4 right now. You have to look at the fact that Meech on 3 items, nearly 4, is one of the strongest characters in the entire game right now. They are looking to set up for this upcoming Baron, and as long as you prevent Moose Hater from joining the fight, Jenkins is doing his job, because Moose Hater, if they find a flank, they can still kill Meech by themselves.
And this is one thing we've always praised Meech about. Going back to when he was still in the amateur circuit and before joining CLG Academy last year, was his positioning and how he fights, how he team fights with the entirety of the team. There's a reason why he's put up so many pentas, because he's always so confident. And if they can kill Meech, that's going to be big, but nobody can get on top of him still. It's all focused on a Duo King. He's burning to the Ignite, should survive. Well done by Wildcard to make sure it's not going to be the random
top laners.
But it's all about the top laner on the other side. Moosehater actually getting the better end of the trade, chasing down Jenkins all the way back towards his team.
Yeah, and Meech has to be very careful. There could be a wild Moosehater flashing over this wall.
That's why you have Cassante still there hanging out. Duo King wants to get the recall off, get that health back. Seems that there's still that extended trade between the two. All out comes out. Moosehater using the shield to be able to run away, and because it's going to be some time, should heal up plenty before anyone can get near.
Yeah, and there's going to be a dragon spawning in a couple seconds. Jenkins now has no teleport, no ultimate to rejoin, but look at this. CLG not playing for the Dragon Soul. They're instead going to be forcing everybody to come towards the top side of the map as they play for the Baron again.
Because they knew what Moosehater was trying to do. Draw the attention down towards the bot lane. They have to play for this. Look how fast they're taking this Baron. Down to 25%. Spotted out by Keel. Here's Soligo on the other side looking for Meech. But so many people are pretending and protecting, making sure nobody can get on Meech, even with exhaust. That's going to be the death charge. They look for their Lance Respite. That's a huge taunt, but nobody is getting on Keel. You've got to kill him. If you don't kill him, you're not winning the game. You've got Cassante, but who else can you take out if you're a Wildcard? Getting chased back by CLG Challengers. Even if they got the pick they needed to onto the tank, they are still the ones with low health bars.
And Wildcard coming out on top of that when they pick up Jenkins, who had no way to get in or out of the fight. CLG want to fight again, but look how much healthier Wildcard have become.
They have, and now the TP in from Soligo. Meech on the other side, being body blocked by 3 members. But now it is Wildcard. They've just turned it, and Moosehater! He's on Meech! He's got the shield! He's kiting it! Down! Moosehater! He's massive! He's gargantuan! And the Shakir on the Baron for Wildcard is there!
Wildcard, they've been so messy, but hey, messy works. They're able to find another couple of kills. They pick up Meech, a huge shutdown goes over to Moosehater, and I'm starting to get flashbacks to yesterday. Wildcard taking crazy long games going up against Cloud9, ending with Moosehater on the back door, but this is absolutely wild from CLG. They try to pick this up. You're down a member, you're at half HP. This is you just asking Wildcard if they're not looking at their mini-map, because after this, there's no way this fight goes any way but the way it did. Moosehater finds his way into the back line, and even though it takes him just a tiny bit extra time to pick up the kill onto Meech, it is 100% worth it. And on the other side, Kevy tries.
He tried so hard if he can get that. But Keel was on point with the smite. Baron on Wildcard, and guess what, Josh? It is an even ball game.
So, Wildcard, again, fighting back with some of our top teams from the Challenger side. Proving they're not just playing the weaker schedule, that they do deserve to be up here. Even taking CLG to this long of a game. We'll see if CLG can kind of bring it back, right? They've been using a lot of resources up in the side lane, and Moosehater just farming so well off on the sides, right? Constantly picking up these jungle camps that Jenkins has not been able to match, and now they're looking for him again.
Looking for Moosehater, but how much can you actually do to him? He's too Chad for y'all to do anything to.
Gotta say, that's the 3rd time we've seen Kevy miss a stun on a rooted target. Moosehater might have gone down, and now Wildcard are the ones who are creating more space.
Looking for the pull on Keel, but you still got to be careful. Keel now has gotten those stacks. He's at 4. He's feeling confident, and Moosehater is into the back line, chasing down Breezy, learning to turn on to Jenkins, but it's got to be careful getting pulled back in. Duo King gets up the shield so he can survive. Nobody dying, even though Duo King got very low.
Very low, and you have to remember, Lens has a ton of stacks. The Whirling Death will execute at a much higher total than people might be expecting right now, but they are going to be picking up another turret for themselves and building Wildcard the first lead they've had this entire game. CLG still reeling from everything, and so much of it has just become from the decisiveness. Moosehater finding another angle into the back line. Soligo with a big taunt, one of the most veteran members of this team, yet again finding their way in.
We're also seeing why Moose Hater loves this Garen. There were 4 members of CLG Challengers on top of Meech, the one person he had to get rid of. And yet Garen still is able to get the job done and get out of there alive.
And now, create such a threat that it means that Lens and Keel have much less focus on them during these upcoming fights because everybody has to try and peel Meech. He's going to be the only one that can really do the damage necessary to take down Moose Hater. Copy will contribute, but Copy is not as strong as they were last game. They are still scaling up in level 18, but we really need this pen item to be completed.
Has to get through the resistances being built up by both Celigo, even though it doesn't look like he's building them up. Just naturally resistances he gets from his kit, and then Moose Hater. Same thing, but just a different ability.
Yeah. And Moose Hater, remember, gets a ton of bonus armor and MR off of that W. You still get the stacks coming through where even though you don't have it itemized, you are way tankier than you might just appear to be based on what your inventory is. You're down 2 levels.
Yeah, this is... Jenkins, you might have had some time in the sun where you could actually like contend against Moose Hater beforehand, but that's gone. It is now darkness. The moon is cresting in the background, and this is where Moose Hater, this is where the mooses are strongest, is at the night. Actually, it's mooses, because moose doesn't come from English.
But it's... No comment.
It's weird. It's a weird one. It's mooses.
No comment. CLG, on the other hand, though, they are still going to be looking for an opportunity. They are still only 1 dragon away from the Chemtech Soul, which is not the strongest soul, but it is still going to be enough to overcome this tiny gold deficit that they have right now.
Gosh,
they're already moving in 4s. I'm not going to respond to that.
Soul,
and now they're looking to find Moose Hater.
Trying with the all out, that pulls him back in. That could be a big pick. He can't do anything. He was locked down forever.
They take him down, and he's going to be dead when the dragon actually spawns. That might have bought CLG this free soul. Now they're pushing up in the mid lane. Jenkins has a teleport up again. Wildcard needs to be very careful. They can still get hit by the Chain of Corruption. They still have access to this Nautilus hook.
It looks like CLG just want the soul. Soul's the soul, and they understand that 30 seconds away and 30 seconds until Moose Hater spawns, but without TP, it's not going to be much of an issue. The bigger thing is going to be that Baron. With 45 seconds remaining on it, Wildcard want to have a fight somewhere. If they can find a pick on someone like Copy or Meech, that could have made it so they could fight around, but they got to be so careful. That's going to be the Realm Warp behind. Looking for the taunt, flashed away by Copy.
Here's
Wildcard, you've got to be careful. Duo King doing his best to absorb pressure, but everyone else is getting chased away by the 5 remaining members of CLG Challengers. And maybe it was a little bit too soon. You needed to wait for Moose Hater, because that immediately going to be the soul picked up by CLG.
Yeah, they're already moving over. Keel not in a position to try and steal. This dragon will be gone very quickly. There's also a Baron spawning in 10 seconds. Duo King is not alive for it.
Look at Wildcard. They're immediately looking to see if they can set up vision around it and then look to contest about it. But they've got to be careful. Like you said, Duo King's got 20 seconds until he spawns back up.
And they can absolutely not DPS check this one, but CLG might be able to. Just got to be careful about where Moose Hater is coming from. They're almost out of wards for CLG.
Got more stacks for Keel, was able to take down Gromp. Actually, it looks like that was the 4th one. So now Keel gets to feel like a real champion.
Let's go.
All right.
They won't be forcing the issue just quite yet. We'll be getting some of the vision around this Baron. They still have the blue trinket down. Now they have the crab. They're going to spend all the money that they just picked up as well. Moose Hater, I mean, for as much as we praise their ability to play over in the side lanes and control all these neutral camps.
Oh, no way.
Getting cutting out, but Meech trying to back right now. Can't do it.
No, has to join back in. Kevi had already recalled. This is a 4v5 fight. If CLG want to contest, it's down to 50%. That charge into the backline onto Keel. They've got zone control, though, with the Glacial Finger. And look at Moose Hater. Look at the heroic entrance. Double knockup they needed to. And Moose Hater, he stands there menacingly.
Oh, that's a kill. He's dead.
Over the competition. Lens kiting it back as Wildcard win the fight. And this is their damn game.
Oh my god, what a crazy fight. Keel with the ultimate saving so many members of Wildcard, even through the soul. But we said the one thing that they need to do, they need to get on top of Meech. Moose Hater finds his way there. Celigo gets the knockup and he dies with the flash still up. 1,100 gold. A huge execute comes through from Lens's ult as well.
And I don't even know if they're going to get time to cash out. They're looking for the game victory. Wild card. It seemed down and out, but you can never count them
seconds.
out. The deck is stacked.
They got him.
The dive is there. Copy is no more as Wild card bring back a heroic game 2 to tie it up 1 apiece.
And even though the first game was a total disaster for Wildcard, game 2 they come back, they battle back, and they take down not just Cloud9 2-0, but they come back and beat CLG Challengers as well. These guys are the real deal, Alex.
They really are. The thing is, with Wildcard, even if you think they're done, the chips are out and they have to cash out. They always have something up their sleeve to pull out a miracle. And they do that here in game 2 to tie it up at 1 apiece. And I don't know much more what we can say about this, so I feel like it's only proper to just to get to the break so we can get to the interview, because I want to hear from Wildcard. So let's let them say it. We'll see you in just a little bit. Back with Mazel.
Welcome back, and we are here with the Verizon post-game interview. We've got the ADC for Wildcard Lens after an incredible performance to round out this second day of week number 3. It's been some breakneck series for you guys, a breakneck weekend for you guys. I know you were mentioning a little bit before the interview started that it's stressful playing through these games. How do you stay cool? How does the team stay cool?
We're just like playing our game, and not, I wouldn't say any of the players are like nervous during the games, or like they're excited but in like a good way. So the nerves are like not really getting to us, except me, I would say. Sometimes I just do silly stuff. Yeah, that's all.
A little bit of silliness here and there is okay. I think we'll take the pass on that one.
Yeah, it's fine. We win, so I'm
exactly. It's been some great performances from you guys. Now, your buddy Moose Hater up there in the top lane, opposite side of the map. Maybe you guys, talk a little bit. He's got some powerful copy pasta. All right, he's got that side of things going for it. Do you have anything for your copy pasta that you would like to add?
I don't really care, honestly. I mean, it's fun. If anyone does it, it would be fun, but I don't really mind,
So do we have your grace to make up a copy pasta for you then?
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back to you with that one. We'll get the Lens seal of approval to make sure it's okay. But you guys continue to prove that you deserve to be in the top of the table. You deserve to be in those conversations, and as a provisional team, that's not an easy conversation to solidify. So you guys have been really well performing in terms of the structure you want to bring to the table. How have you guys been approaching that structure in your gameplay?
Going into the season, I just looked at a couple like power rankings, and all of them we were just like down there. I mean, it of course kind of hurts, but as long as you put in the effort and like scrimming, doing all that stuff, trying to get better every day consistently, and we've been doing this for like 2 months now. Maybe we started training like early, and we just keep going. Like even if we drop games. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, we just review, learn from it, and yeah.
So is your biggest strength, you feel like, your guys' mentality?
Mentality, not very nervous during games, and we know our strengths. We know we're very flexible in every role. Mm-hmm. I think Soligo talked about this yesterday. We can just like adapt to Moose and Duo King playstyle more. Mm-hmm. And, it just wins us games, yeah. So I'm just down to do it. And if enemy team doesn't ban some stuff, they just lose.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Now, what motivates you into this split, into this year, Lens?
I've been in the scene for a while now, actually. It's just I was a Turkish resident. I didn't have NA residency, so I couldn't play. But last split, I played in 100 Thieves Amateur. Mm-hmm. It was just a good experience for me. It helped me realize a lot of stuff, and this is just like my second team kinda, and I think we're improving every day, and yeah, we're just gonna do good.
Hey, got to keep that mindset right. Yeah. Now, you guys have been very decisive in these crazy games, the backdoorings, the decisiveness in the side lanes. How does that communication structure kind of break down for you guys? Is it just all same mentality, we know what we want, or is there a certain person who's kind of leading the charge?
Mostly I would say Sligo and Kiel, but we're just like all talking all the time.
Okay.
I mean, everyone has responsibilities, kinda like, yeah. I mean, we just play. We all talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
That communication is super important. Now you have taken down, you've taken down Meech now, one of the up and coming mechanical ADCs today in the 1-for-1. Do you have anybody else you're looking forward to facing throughout the rest of the season?
Not really. I just play the game and try to win.
Show up and down smash bot. No big deal, right?
Yeah, I don't really look at enemy nickname. Yeah.
All right, tape nameplates off. Well, I want to give you a chance to give some shout outs here, Lens. Anybody you want to talk about before we let you go?
Shout out to my parents, my dad, my mom, my brother, my teammates, and Griffin, our head coach.
Thank you so much, Lens. I look forward to getting to talk to you many more times throughout the season.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to bring back in my casters here to break down the rest of the day. And guys, wonderful to hear from Lens, and we got to hear that little interview put together earlier, Magical, as well.
I try to do what I can. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want me to say there.
Talk about what Lens said, but no, go on to the standings here.
We've talked about it literally all day. I don't know what else.
Not all day.
All series. We've talked about it.
Like, and it's a hell of a comeback win for them.
I mean, it's a great comeback win, but it's also kind of playing into how they are very confident with themselves. They all do think that they are going to be like a top 3 team, and with some of their performances, the 2-0 yesterday over Cloud9 Challengers, bringing back this game, we see their power. Game 1 was the only time when you were like, yeah, there's not much they can do.
True.
That game was doomed from like the first minute. It's like, that's a GG go next if I've ever seen one.
Well, we got our standings here as we are rounding out our day. There's still a series being played on the other stream. But Joshi, here's the breakdown. Dignitas take first place for the time being.
Yeah, Dignitas currently our #1 squad, and there's not a whole lot of surprises. I did hear that Team Liquid First did take a game off of Team Liquid Challengers over on the other stream.
Yes, they did.
We are starting to see a little bit more shaking out in terms of where we're expecting a lot of our teams to end up. Fear is still a huge outlier as a massively overperforming in Wildcard. I don't think people were expecting them to be this good before the season started, but the fact that they, again, 2-0 against Cloud9, 2 of their 3 losses, and also trading games with CLG Challengers speaks volumes to how well these guys are going to be playing for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it really does. But that is it for day 2 of week number 3. It's been a pleasure to be here alongside you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed some of the games, getting to learn a little bit about the players. But we are going to be rating twitch.tv/path to LCS as the big match, the smackdown of the week. Cloud9 Challengers are taking on 100 Thieves Challengers. Want to give a quick shout out to both of you for joining me, to the production team. Jay, you're a real one. The audience, the players, we wouldn't be here without you all. I don't know what that says on the bottom of the screen. We'll see you over on Path to LCS. Be there.